Hey guys, I've been working on the light switch logic and I suppose the desk lamp logic as well. If we just show here, so you see the desk lamp, so it's got like an on off. You press L, it does like on off, and it's the light switch, and you press L again, that's got on off. I've updated them last night. They originally box collision, got some weirdness. I changed it to sphere collision just so you catch it depending on which way in all directions you were looking. Box was playing up, but if I just show you what I've done and what I've been working on, actually, if we just grab, I'll show you the desk lamp blueprint as an example of how it was, and then I'll show you I'll show you the light switch blueprint for how it is now. So okay, so originally, as you see here, you press L. Well, when you overlap, when your character walks into that range, you overlap. Trigger enable input of this. The player controller is just like allows the player controller. So essentially you to press L, and that L will actually do something. Same again, disable when you leave the radius. When you press L, originally I had this extra information. You see I've got this boolean where it's like it's an on, it sets default, as you see on the right, as off, and then you know where if it's off, look at this array of spotlights, and for each one of those spotlight components toggle the visibility and then set it to on. And I didn't like it for a couple of reasons. One, if there's no spotlights in the array, so it's blank here on the right. If we go into the level, I've clicked the spotlight. You can see on the right it's not blank because I'm referencing that right there. So, but if I didn't populate it for whatever reason, I get an error because it's almost like, you know, when you need that is valid logic to almost check, is this available before running, rather than just running, it fails and there's problems. So that's how it originally was, and the light switch was exactly the same. This is I suppose a bit of an example, but I changed it. I realized the on option I've kept for very specific use cases, but in the old way of working, this way of working, or this way of working, if we take the light switch for the not just the desk lamps but just lights in general, let's say I put into a room here, the lights, that light's on by default, these lights are off by default. I need to, no doubt that is not the best way to do the lighting, definitely need to do more lighting videos. So you see, every time I put an instance of this blueprint in, I've got to go into it and I need to, you know, default it if it needs to be default off, if it's off by default, and default on if it's on by default. So just extra complexity. So I changed it into this. One of the elements I wanted to do was have the light switch interact with not only point lights but spotlights and rect lights, so rectangle lights. Sorry, one sec. So I didn't want to create children, I didn't want to create three, so instead I created this setup where you've got an array of point on the left, an array of spot, an array of rect. Rect I want to use as environmental lighting. So if you see in this example, the rect is actually on the outside in. So I guess you could just say space light, like going into the spaceship. And right now you see it's casting shadows through. and I want the rectangle lights to be, I guess you'd say, environmental, and I want the point lights to be, I guess the best way to say it is I want the rectangle lights to be exterior lighting, I want the point lights and the spotlights to be interior lighting. So that's how I've got it, and it does like in his empty, so it's almost like in his valid kind of works the same way. Because obviously if it's empty, it'll just go to the next thing, and if that's empty, then it does nothing. So there's no sort of error that pops up now. After, well, if it's not empty, look through the point lights. I use light component rather than, you see here, I did like spotlight component, but you can also have like a point light component for point lights. It's felt a bit, there might be a difference between light component or the very specific point, spot, or rect light component, but I've chosen light component because it's interchangeable. They all share a similar thing. So the only thing that needs to change is these two bits. Okay, to toggle, rather than do an on off, it's just the opposite of whatever its current self is. And after it's completed it, if the point light is visible, then turn off the rectangle lights. And then let's see, press. So let's say you've got no spotlights, you've got point lights, you press the button, you've turned it off, turn it back on, goes through here, toggles it, and now if the light is visible, well, if the light is visible true for the point, hide the rectangle lights, well, hide the rectangle shadows. If the point light is not visible, then cast the shadows. And the reason for this is, if I just go to the press, let's see, I think that's a good example. The reason for that is, let's say you have exterior lighting, and that casts shadows interior when it comes through your window. You turn on all your interior lights, those external shadows get dampened or they get overwhelmed by the light from the interior. So it's almost like the interior lights take over, take primary precedence, and that's what I've coded here. So the shadows for the, I guess you'd say, exterior lighting, if I just do like exterior, for the exterior, get overruled by the, I'm going to regret doing this, interior, get overruled by the interior lights. And I'll showcase what this means in practice. Okay, so you've got the shadows coming through. That won't turn off the exterior because it's just like it's a separate thing. That's desktop. That's the other blueprint. The light switch, if you look at the shadows, they swap, and I feel that's much more realistic. So you've got the exterior lighting, the exterior shadows, interior lighting, exterior lighting as well, but only interior shadows. So that's that one. If I just go to another room without it crashing, this is where it crashes because I've dumped a bunch of stuff in just to test it. Right, let's get through here. Ooh, let's try not to die. Nearly there, nearly there. Not that one, next one. I'll explain what's going on once I actually get in. Here we go, this one. Right, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Didn't crash, good. Then I've got here. This is where I originally did it when I was doing one of the characters' bedrooms. So, interior lights, very bright interior lights, absolutely not finished at all, but you can see what's happening, and then the exterior lights kick in like that when you turn it off. I feel that's a really good way of doing it, because currently currently I've just got interior lights on and off. I didn't even think to do exterior lights, but like space creates light, doesn't it? Like the sun, you can see the stars when you're looking up to space, or when you're in space, you're gonna get the same sort of brightness, if not slightly more magnified. This is what I was. That's what I've been doing, and I just wanted to showcase it. I'll discuss it more, like a, I'll quickly discuss it in the branch because I've nearly finished the like that bedroom branch. I'll just chuck a couple of assets in that I've already got floating around here. I might use ones I've already done just because it's not finalized. I just want to, get a bit of stuff in it essentially, and then I can move to the next one. So we'll see what's what. Put a couple of pickup collectible items in, that sort of thing. And yeah, I'll do that, and then I'm going to change the lighting, and I think it'll make a radical difference. Currently, the normal maps are edge normals using this. So if I just show you what it looks like, I'll just create one actually. Wrong button. So it's a sprite plugin, and it really does. That's not proper normal map, is it? It just does edge normals, the edge normal maps. Once I upgrade the normal maps, it will interact much more fantastically with the lighting and the shadows. My preference would be to hand paint them, and I will, in the final result, when when it's really getting its polish, it will be hand painted, at least hand touched up from almost like an algorithm prepared version. I will move from the edge normal map to there's a couple of other normal map functionalities that can do it, and it doesn't just do edge, it kind of does the actual texture normal map. So yeah, the plan, once that's incorporated, even just not in the final polish, but just a proper normal map instead of just edge normal maps, I really think that'll flesh out like the brilliance of everything. But yeah, this video is just to show lighting, creating a concept where you have exterior and interior lighting. And last thing I will say is, in the light switch here, you need to add them in. So it's not like it just mandatorily just overrules everything. I can make it really bespoke to the lighting. So as you saw in the hallway, I could have light switches only turn on certain lights. I can trigger very granular events with the lighting. Yeah, hopefully you found it interesting. I was playing around with stuff last night, and I thought it'd be quite cool to show because it really does make more sense rather than just having loads of shadows all competing at the same time. Flip of the shadows feels, to me, it feels much more realistic. And yeah, thank you for your time.